Okay, so now we are going to learn about the formation of delta. Simply, what is a delta? A delta is a depositional feature of the lower course of a river. So most of the rivers in the world carries a lot of sediments, and those sediments, because of the absence of slope, the sediments are deposited on the coast. Before a river ends into a sea or an ocean, the river used to deposit a lot of sediments, or whatever it carries throughout its all the courses is going to be deposited before a river ends into the sea. So that deposition took place on the sea coast. So there are three major types of delta on the basis of shape are formed. The one of the type is called arcot delta. The arcot delta is one. Second form of delta is called cusped delta, and third form of delta is called bird foot delta. So we are talking about the first form of delta, that is arcot delta. Arcot delta are also known as fan shaped delta. You know about alluvial fan and alluvial cone. This is cone and this is the fan. For example, this is the sea coast or ocean coast, and the river is coming from this side. I am showing an arrow also that the river is flowing towards the sea or towards the ocean. What will happen? That because of the flat land and a lot of sediments, the river used to deposit it into onto the bank or inside the river bed. So a lot of sediments are deposited. The area which you can see, this is the space here. These areas where you see that the area is blank, nothing is drawn there, that is actually the deposition of sand or sediments by a river. But here river is not only depositing, waves and tides of the oceans are also playing a very important role. Because of the force of the waves and tides, whatever the river is depositing into the sea, that material is thrown back into the river valley or into the river bed. So a river used to bifurcate and cover a larger area, and all the main channel of the river starts bifurcating into so many distributaries. You can see there are a lot of distributaries shown in this diagram. Those distributaries are actually carrying the water of the main channel, and the water is divided into so many small streams, and all the small streams are flowing into the sea. But there is a lot of sediment, sediments are deposited, and the shape will look like a fan. Here you can see this is the fan, here is the cone. So if this type of feature is formed anywhere, this is called arcot delta. And the best example of the arcot delta is River Nile. River Nile, the longest river of the world, flows in Africa continent. That river forms world's best known delta, which is known as arcot delta. Fine. The second form of delta is known as cusped delta. Now the formation of cusped delta is very rare. The second type, I am writing here, the second type of delta is CUSPATE, cusped delta. The cusped deltas are formed by few rivers in the world. The cusped delta is formed in a way that, for example, if this is the sea coast, the sea or the ocean coast, and the river is flowing from this direction into the sea. The river is flowing here. Now what will happen, that because of the strong tides and waves of the ocean, the sediments are going to deposit it back into the sea. So what will happen, it will form a particular kind of shape. Here the river is depositing its sediments in a way that a lot of sediments are going to be deposited here. Okay. Here you can see that this much area is actually the deposition of the, this is the deposition. So here you can see that the main river is entering into the sea, whereas this side has a deposition of sediments. Here also the sediments are deposited. So deposition took place on both the sides of the river, and the main channel is entering into the sea. Whatever the sediments it carries, that sediments are deposited on both the sides. This type of shape is being formed by any of the river, that is known as cusped delta. There is a river in Spain which is known as Ebro. Ebro river forms cusped delta. And the third is also a rare feature. Third type of delta is known as bird foot delta. You know how the foot of a bird looks. So it also resembles the same kind of, you can say, the same kind of feature, like how a bird, when it keeps its foot onto the its feet onto the land, what will be the impression of that feet on the land. Same type of feature, the rivers are also formed as in the form of a delta. So third is bird's foot delta. Now what is there in bird's foot delta? The bird's foot delta, as you can see, that the river is entering into the sea. For example, there is a sea and the river is entering into it. But what will happen, that the flow is very slow and the river itself will deposit its sediments, and there are a lot of distributaries which will create a kind of 90-degree angles, and these distributaries will flow into the sea. Now see what is happening. There are the sediments are deposited and the river is flowing into a lot of distributary, and the sediments are also flowing along the distributary. So a lot of sediments are flowing across the distributary, and a lot of sediments are deposited this side. So there is deposition of sediments along the banks of the distributaries, and this results into both the sides. You can see, so the river is bifurcating at 90 degree, almost at 90 degree, not exactly at 90 degree, but at 90 degree the river is bifurcating into so many distributaries, and distributaries are flowing in opposite direction, and it resembles a shape like the feet of a bird. That is why it is called a bird foot delta. So what we have learned, there are three types of delta: arcot delta, cusped delta, and bird foot delta. These are the three important deltas formed by major rivers in the world. This type of delta is formed by river Mississippi in North America. So river Mississippi forms a bird foot delta. You have to find out that which type of delta is being formed by river Ganga and Brahmaputra, because river Ganga and Brahmaputra forms world's largest delta, and also world's fastest growing delta is formed by river Ganga and Brahmaputra at the coast of Bay of Bengal. Okay, that you have to find out. Thank you.